Hello, Gary here from Pathways Homestead. I'm in my garden. I'm out standing in my field. No, I'm in my garden today and I'm picking something, a vegetable I want to share with you guys that is really important to me for lots of reasons. So the vegetable obviously is okra. And okra is a plant of African origin, and it was brought to the United States and used very heavily in the South. Okra typically needs a longer growing period, so it grows good, longer days of growing, so it grows good in the South. It likes the heat. It needs some moisture. Okra is a fairly heavy feeder. It needs quite a bit of phosphorus in the ground. So if you're preparing an okra patch, putting some of your wood ashes there is a good idea. Lots of manure and that kind of stuff in an okra patch too. But this okra is special okra. This is a seed. This is originally from seed that my grandfather gave me in the 90s, and I don't remember exactly what year. Probably 95.
Well, did we have it before we moved to the trailer house?
Yeah, maybe. No, that's probably the first time we planted it.
So 97 was our first.
97, probably, that he gave it to me. And it was some okra he had saved, and I don't know how long he'd been saving seed. And he gave it to me, and we've been growing it pretty much ever since. We kind of just stored it away when we lived farther north for a few years where it wouldn't grow, and then when we got further south again, we started growing it again. And this is Grandpa Cargill's okra is what we call it. And I want to show you some special things about Grandpa Cargill's okra. It's typically 4 feet to, we have had it almost 10 feet, 4 to 10 feet tall, but that 4 to 6 feet is pretty typical for Grandpa Cargill's okra. It puts a lot on the main leader. Puts a lot of its okra on the main leader, which makes it fairly easy to pick. You don't have to go looking underneath the leaves very heavy. We'll find some of that, but it's not real heavy. It does really well with varying conditions. Like it can get cool and rainy, and this okra will still produce. It can get dry and hot, and this okra will still produce. And it takes the swings really well. But also, I want to show you. Am I good right here?
Yeah.
So typically you'll pick okra.
So I've got you from here to here.
Typically you'll pick okra about that size. You can see about as long as my index finger. I've got pretty big fingers, but about the size of my index finger. That's typical okra size, sometimes even smaller, for it to be tender. The way we cook okra typically here in the U.S., okra needs to be tender. That's a pretty nice okra, still very tender. But this Grandpa Cargill okra, you can see this one. I often pick them this size and a little bigger, and they're still tender. I want to show you. So it cuts real nice. And a lot of times when you're picking okra and you're cutting it off at the stem, if that's really tough to cut, the okra's tough. But this cut real good, and you can see that it cut real nice. Look how meaty that is. That okra is inside. There's some seeds, but that's part of the meat of an okra, is those soft seeds. And so one of the ways I check and see if I'm getting the pieces that are too tough is I just cut a piece off. And that okra's not woody at all. It's not pithy. It's not stringy. It is, I wouldn't call it slimy. Grandpa Cargill's okra is not a heavily slimy okra for okra. I mean, it is okra, so there is some slime, but it's not like your Texas Hill Country or some of those that are an extremely slimy okra. This one is lower on the slimy end of it. Great flavor, and we really enjoy our Grandpa Cargill's okra, and we thought we'd share that with you guys. And we've got a lot to pick, and although we really like okra fried, we really like okra. We like okra roasted. We like okra fried. We do put it in some tomato soup type things, like a gumbo type soup. but we're not Cajuns, so it's really soup for us. It's not really true gumbo most of the time. But our favorite way to eat Grandpa Cargill okra, and stuff the kids will fuss over and that we get crazy about, is a recipe that we kind of learned the idea for the recipe from my Grandma Cargill. It's pickled okra. That's one of our favorite ways to eat Grandpa Cargill okra. These, you can see we have left some of the pods, and that's how we save okra, is you just simply don't pick the pods. I mean, save okra. That's how you save okra seed. You simply don't pick the pods and let them grow till they start to dry out, and then hang them somewhere and let them dry, and you have okra seed. It's one of the simplest seeds to save that we know of. That's part of the reason my grandpa would say that he was about efficiency, because he always worked at least 2 full-time jobs, and so his garden was about efficiency. So he didn't save a lot of seeds, but okra was simple and easy and effective for him to save, and it gave him a landrace that grew good in his garden. So this is one of the seeds he saved, and we do too, and they're that simple to save.
This pod right here is drying, and see how it's splitting open in there, right there? So it's almost done. We could go ahead and remove it from the plant right now, and it would continue to dry out. We could even go in and, some of the seeds are on the other side. It's already dropping seeds. So this is an okra seed here. So this one is time to remove. Get it where it'll focus. It's time to remove that one. This guy right here. It's time to take him out. We'll have to come in and take him out, because on the other side, that is completely split open and dropping seed. We don't want to lose our seed. Gary's about 6 foot tall, so that shows you how tall our okra is down there on that end. There is that end that Gary's on, as you can tell, is in full sun, and the end further away from him is not, and so the okra is shorter. It will grow in partial shade, it just grows slower. We have harvested some of our okra seeds, and so I'm going to show you how we open those up. This one has opened up on its own. I don't know if you can see that right there, how that has opened up, but it has. And so we're going to just go in and pull the okra apart. You can just stick your finger in those ribs, and you'll see the little seeds come out. And then I'm making sure I've got something in there to catch them. And then just peel the sections open, kind of like an orange. Okay. And that is all the seed from one okra pod. So let's see if I can get it to where you can see it. That's all that seed in my hand, I just dropped one, is from one okra pod. So now I'll have an okra plant down there with my bean plants, my bean plants that some of the beans got blown off when that we had shelled out and were drying. We had something come up and we got called away, and we didn't put them in the house, and the wind come up and blew them off, and we picked a bunch of them up and washed them and let them continue to dry. But some of them we didn't find, and they have gotten into the flower bed and out into the yard, and we've got bean plants coming up out there. But anyway, I'm going to work on these okras, get the okra pods, and get the seeds out of them. I don't know if you can hear them crackling open, but they're not nice and dry. Okra are nice and hard, so you can drill into them, use them for as beads. The okra seeds. And there we are. We got okra seed out of five pods. And that is enough okra seed for next year. We'll continue to save more seed though, because we like to have extra seed. And we'll probably share some as well. And these pods that I've gotten all the okra seed out of, I'm just going to throw them in my compost. They're not... There's not a whole lot more. You can throw them back down into the garden as mulch. That would work as well. Either one. Mulch or compost. That's the best use for these.
And so we just thought we'd share that with you guys, and appreciate you coming by here. And I want you to remember that God made you special and He loves you very much. See you later.